to another episode of The Pursuit. As you can see, we are back in the virtual coffee shop.
Yes.
Where we've been having our episodes in the past. And we're glad to have back. We're in the kind of the new recording studio.
The virtual aroma of coffee is around us.
Absolutely. It smells fake.
Almost like water.
Yes. Well, we want to go ahead and get started with our icebreaker for today. I'm not sure whose week it is, but you go.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I don't know what we've done with the old ones.
We don't know. We probably repeated them.
Okay, let's do this one.
All right.
Imagine living in a world without electricity. What would be the hardest or strangest part?
Oh, wow. The hardest or strangest part.
Yeah. Living in a world without electricity.
I'm just gonna have to say I'm a pretty comfy guy. I like comforts. At the beginning of the summer, our air conditioner went out, and so we didn't have the air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
But we had fans and everything. But without electricity, here in the South, here in North Carolina, doing without air conditioning would be very difficult to do.
That would be very difficult. Man, electricity, without electricity. I think for me, one of the strangest things, it kind of happened through COVID.
Okay.
In a way. But I think not being able to watch like sports. I like watching, college basketball, college football, NFL, so during COVID that kind of happened where there was nothing. I'm like, oh, this is great. So now things are kind of, they've been ramping back up and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And of course, Cynthia's like, man, I loved it so much when you didn't have anything to watch. Like,
wow, this sounds like it's becoming a marital conference.
But yeah, so I think that would be the strangest part. The thing I would be least excited about is not having that.
When you watched the sports, did you when it came back and they started piping in all the audience sounds? Was that weird?
It was weird. It definitely was not the same.
Yeah.
The NBA in the bubble, playing like that. It was very different. So now with having crowds back, it's like, oh my goodness, there's this energy that's been missing.
Yeah, there were more fights in MLB during that time. It really is kind of weird. They were not supposed to be because you're not supposed to be close to each other. Yeah. But there were more fights because, and then I was listening to why, because there's no noise in the stadium. You can hear the chatter from the other dugout, and this guy's over here, he's upset because you just said that, and next thing you know, they're fighting.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought, man, without people, people get ugly. It's crazy.
Nice.
We'll take some time right now with your group to discuss what would be the most difficult part about living without electricity. Well, this week, Pastor Kivett continued in our series through the Beatitudes with Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And he gave us a definition for pure in heart. He said that pure in heart is a single-minded devotion to God that comes from being spiritually cleansed by salvation through Jesus alone. And as he gave that definition, a lot of times I've heard this, and you always hear the phrase pure in heart has to do with purity. And then we go from what that means. It could be sexual purity or whatever. Yeah. So I thought we'd ask the question, how does Pastor Kivett's definition of pure in heart differ from what you have traditionally heard?
Yeah, not necessarily differ as in, oh, I was wrong or I think he's wrong, but just in a way of, oh, I would have never thought of it in this way. Right.
I'm saying we're wrong and he's right.
Yeah, obviously. But just thinking of that in a different mindset. When you think of purity, we have these tendencies and these natural defaults of how we think of these things. And so when we think of this single-minded devotion to God that comes from our salvation in Jesus Christ, it's nothing that we've done. Obviously, we can't provide for our own salvation. Well, we also cannot provide our own purity here. And so as we look at that, that gives us a new definition of what that means, being pure in heart.
Yeah, so take some time in your group right now. Maybe discuss your views on this idea of pure in heart and how it could differ and seeing things in a new way like Pastor Kivett shared with us. Take some time right now in your group to discuss this.
All right, so now that we've talked about kind of the definition of being pure in heart, Pastor Kivett went on to talk just a little bit about how can I be pure in heart, and specifically talking about that definition, we just wanted to kind of ask, how does that single-minded devotion to God help us in that continued purity, in that purity in heart? How does that ultimately help continue that?
Yeah, because we know that we've been made pure by what Christ has done for us on the cross, even though we are still sinners, we still make mistakes. So it should spur us on to more of a continued purity. You know, the fact that what we've been given by Christ as a virtue of a gift, we can't earn, but we want to honor him, honor his sacrifice, honor his work on the cross by seeking to live these pure lives.
Yeah. So take some time right now. Talk about this with your group.
Well, finally, Pastor Kivett ended with the promise of this beatitude, you know, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Now, we know that because of our pure in heart status that we've been given by Christ, we will eventually be in God's presence. But there's also an earthly aspect to that. Not that we will visibly see God, but that there's something about those who are pure in heart now, where that we are constantly in his presence. If you want to use that term, he's with us. That's the idea here. So we thought we'd share with our groups to talk about, what does that mean? What does it mean for God's presence to always be with us? How does that affect our day-to-day, everyday life?
Oh yeah, because as we're talking about this again, we have this, you know, blessed are the meek, the merciful, the pure in heart, for this is kind of the reward of that, or
Right.
you know, the benefit of that. And so yeah, we want to be able to understand how to be pure in heart, but we also want to understand fully, okay, what does this mean? What does it mean that we shall see God? What does that mean for our lives? Not just, like you said, not just for in the future,
Right.
but now. How does that impact us now in our everyday lives, that we will see God?
So take some time right now with your group to discuss this. All right, well, thank you for joining us on another episode of The Pursuit. As always, you can watch previous episodes of The Pursuit by clicking the link provided on your screen.
Yeah, you can also go back and watch past sermon videos, especially through our Beatitudes series. Don't miss any of those. And you can also subscribe to our channel at any time so you can get the videos as soon as we upload them. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to get another caramel macchiato. Hey, can I